Welcome in, because the European €2 coin is top 5 of those everyday pieces hiding a value story almost no one sees. What looks like simple pocket change has quietly crossed into four-figure territory for collectors, and in the next moments, you'll see how a coin most people spend without thinking became a serious numismatic prize. First coin. The coin in your hand is heavy, wrong, a 1999 Spanish €2 coin that feels like a thick, cold ghost. This isn't the bimetal currency you'd get in change today. It's a phantom, a preemptive strike from a Madrid mint preparing for a monetary union that was still years away. Spain, along with other Eurozone nations, minted test runs in the late 90s, but these coins, stamped with King Juan Carlos I's portrait and the 1999 date, were never intended for public circulation. They were supposed to be melted, destroyed, turned back into silent bullion, yet somehow a handful escaped. They slipped out of the mint, tucked into the pockets of workers or hidden in bags of scrap, becoming numismatic fugitives with a perfect, official strike and a fatal flaw. They were born 3 years too early. Holding one feels like holding a secret, a tangible piece of a financial future that hadn't yet arrived, a coin that officially didn't exist. Its visual language whispers of its anomaly. The core is a stark, brilliant nickel brass, but the outer ring isn't the standard copper-nickel alloy with its subtle silver hue. It's a different, often darker, more yellowish nickel brass, making the entire coin a single, sinister gold color. The strike is unnervingly sharp, the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela etched with pristine, deep relief on the Spanish side, the European map abnormally defined on the other. But look closer, along the golden rim. The raised edge lettering, the stars and inscriptions might show a slight, ghostly doubling, a minute shift in the die as it pressed this illicit blank. The weight feels off, too heavy, because it's all one dense metal, betraying its truth before you even check the scales. This isn't a worn piece of history. It's a mint-fresh artifact from a parallel timeline, a coin that slept in darkness while its legal brothers entered the world in 2002. Value of such a spectral piece isn't set in a price guide. It's forged in the silent bidding war between collectors who understand its profound narrative breach. A basic, confirmed example, the mere fact of its existence, can command a life-changing sum, a sudden windfall that could clear debts or fund a dream vacation. Think in terms of a new car sitting in your palm. Minor variations, a slight difference in the alloy shade, a specific mint mark placement, can escalate that figure dramatically. We're talking a solid $2,500 to $7,500 for these subtle distinctions. A coin with a more notable error, like a clear, visible die doubling on the lettering or a misaligned edge strike, enters another realm, pushing toward $9,000. If you have one in flawless, gem-uncirculated grade, preserved as if it left the mint yesterday, you're easily looking at a benchmark of $10,000, a down payment on a piece of land or a year's tuition. But the true astronomical figures are reserved for the freaks. Imagine a 1999 €2 with a striking anomaly so severe the design is blurred, or one struck on a completely wrong planchet, a blank meant for another coin entirely. These mint-born mutants shatter normal valuation. A single coin like this, a 1 in a million error on an already impossibly rare issue, can see auction results spike to $25,000 or more. Then consider the context of sale. A rare collector piece with pristine surfaces and impeccable provenance, sold in the right room to two determined bidders, can leap to $12,000. An exceptionally preserved example with an uncommon mint-set pedigree might hit $15,000. It's not just metal, it's a trophy of a monumental minting mistake. The peak, the heart-stopping auction hammer falls, is for the coin that combines all factors: unparalleled preservation, a dramatic and unique era, and ironclad documentation of its clandestine journey out of the Madrid facility. This is where you hear numbers that defy belief, in the $65,000 range for these unicorns with ferocious collector demand. And for the single most extraordinary, historically significant example, perhaps one from a documented batch seized and later mysteriously released, with a story as sharp as its strike. The sky is the theoretical limit, whispers of up to $80,000, a sum that could be the cornerstone of a college fund or transform a family's future. These are not guarantees, but illustrative peaks showing what the market, in its most fevered state, has proven possible for the right coin. So if you find a thick, all-gold-colored €2 dated 1999, your pulse will quicken, but you must become a detective. First, weigh it. A true single metal error will be over 9 grams, noticeably heavier than the standard 8.5. Examine the color under strong light. It should be a uniform, brassy yellow, no silver ring. Use a magnifier to scour the edge lettering and the design for any doubling, any softness that suggests a misstrike. Check the rim, is it perfectly formed, or is there a flatter, unfinished look? Every detail is a clue. Then, and this is non-negotiable, you must seek professional authentication from a service like PCGS or NGC. Do not attempt to clean it. Do not handle it excessively. Your potential fortune hinges on its unaltered, verified state. This step separates a genuine, life-altering discovery from a clever forgery or a later-day fantasy piece. This is the powerful allure of numismatics, that a small, cold disc can hold a narrative of industrial secrecy, bureaucratic oversight, and sheer luck, culminating in a value that transcends its metal. It represents the ultimate what-if scenario, a tangible connection to a moment where history almost went one way but was caught, with a few pieces slipping through the cracks. The 1999 Spanish €2 is a monument to those cracks. It hides in plain sight, looking almost right but feeling deeply wrong, waiting in an old collection, a forgotten drawer, or even an inherited jar of foreign coins, for the day someone looks closely. It whispers that treasure isn't always buried, sometimes it's just misplaced, waiting for the right pair of eyes to understand its weight. And if you think the story of a coin that shouldn't exist is shocking, wait until you hear about the common, everyday penny with a hidden feature so catastrophic and valuable it makes even this Spanish ghost seem almost predictable. A story that begins not in a European mint, but in your own pocket next time you get change for a coffee. Next coin. Your fingers brush past it in a handful of loose change. A French €2 coin dated 2001, seemingly just another piece of currency from the dawn of the Euro era. But this specific date and country combination is a chronological impossibility. A ghost in the monetary system. The euro physically entered circulation on January 1, 2002. No €2 coins were ever officially released or intended for public use bearing a 2001 date from any nation. France, however, alongside other founding countries, was feverishly minting these coins a full year in advance, building up the billions of units needed for the historic launch. Those 2001 dated coins were struck, bagged, and placed into secure vaults, destined only to be released into the wild after the clock struck midnight on New Year's 2002. Yet, a tiny, inexplicable number escaped. They slipped out early, possibly as mint souvenirs, as test pieces given to dignitaries, or simply due to a breathtaking logistical error, making them some of the most clandestine and coveted coins of the modern age. At first glance, it looks perfectly normal, the familiar bimetal ring, the Marion portrait on the French side, the standard European map on the other. Its deception is in its mundane appearance. The trick to identifying one of these legendary pre-release escapes is in the microscopic details a regular person would never notice. The coin's edge, with its alternating sequence of stars and the numeral 2, might show a slight, almost imperceptible doubling, a faint ghost image stamped next to the primary design, a sign of a slightly misaligned die during its premature striking. The rim could exhibit a subtle, uneven expansion, a tiny lip of metal flaring out where the planchet was improperly restrained. Under a magnifying glass, the fields might reveal a different, more meticulous polish than the rushed, high-volume strikes of 2002. Its weight will be exact, its color correct, which is precisely what makes it so insidious. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing, a mint-fresh coin hiding a secret history of being in the wrong place at the exact right time for a collector. The existence of a 2001 dated French €2 in circulation is a story of monumental bureaucratic irony. Imagine the warehouses in 2001 stacked to the ceiling with pallets of these coins, a literal fortune waiting for a political moment. Security was meant to be absolute. The fact that any left the building is a numismatic legend, a tale of a sealed vault with a single, unseen crack. Each confirmed specimen is a direct relic of that tense, hopeful year before the euro transformed a continent, a coin that literally predates its own legal existence. It represents a frozen moment of anticipation, making it not just a collectible, but a piece of historical evidence, a tangible contradiction to the official record. This context is what fuels an almost obsessive collector demand, transforming a simple coin into a grail for specialists of modern European numismatics. For the person who finds one, the emotional journey is a roller coaster of disbelief and potential life-altering fortune. Think of the sheer, staggering odds, searching through a pile of euros, and seeing that 2001 date is like finding a specific, documented snowflake from a storm that happened decades ago. The initial value lies simply in its verified existence. A confirmed, though perhaps lightly handled, example that slipped into circulation and shows minor wear can command a figure that feels like a miraculous bonus, a sudden $5,000 to $12,000 windfall for simply checking your change. This isn't just found money, it's a reward for curiosity, a financial cushion that appears from the most ordinary of places. The price ladder escalates dramatically with condition and distinctive errors. A higher-grade example, one that spent its early life tucked away instead of jingling in pockets, showing a pronounced striking error like clear letter doubling or a noticeable rim flaw, can see recorded private sale outcomes in the $20,000 range. For a rare error example, perhaps one struck on a slightly incorrect planchet or with a dramatic, visible misalignment, the market has shown peaks nearing $35,000. Then, consider a coin in flawless mint state, with pristine, original luster and not a single mark, a coin that looks like it was struck yesterday but carries the forbidden date. Such a specimen enters the realm of serious investment, with comparable outcomes reaching for the $50,000 mark, a sum that represents a clear pivot point in someone's financial life, a chance to erase debt or make a bold investment. The truly astronomical figures are reserved for the freaks and the one-offs. An unusual mistake on this already impossible coin, a dramatic double strike where the design is blurred and overlapped, or a major clip in the planchet, creates a unique artifact. These are the coins that break valuation models, with plausible outcomes in the $75,000 territory at a major auction. An extreme error, something catastrophic and visually stunning like a 30% off-center strike that renders the coin clearly, obviously wrong, could push toward a staggering $100,000, a life-changing discovery that could fund a business venture or a dream home. And for the single, most extraordinary one-of-a-kind discovery, perhaps a 2001 coin with a unique mint-mark trial or an experimental edge variety, the theoretical ceiling has been whispered by experts to approach $120,000, a number that belongs to the realm of legend, yet is grounded in the fierce competition of top-tier collectors for the rarest of the rare. This is why you must proceed with cold, meticulous caution. If you see that 2001 date on a French €2, do not celebrate yet. Become a forensic examiner. First, weigh it on a precise digital scale. It must be exactly 8.5 grams. Examine the color under a strong light, comparing it to a known 2002 coin. The bimetal tones should match perfectly. Use a jeweler's loupe to scrutinize the strike alignment, particularly the stars on the edge and the fine details of Marion's portrait, searching for any doubling. Check the rim for that telltale uneven expansion or a lip. Any deviation could indicate a genuine error or, just as likely, a sophisticated counterfeit. Then your only next step is to securely package the coin and submit it to a top-tier grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication and encapsulation. Do not clean it, do not show it around, do not take a quick, lowball offer from a local dealer. Its entire value is contingent on its verified, unaltered state, a process that separates a genuine treasure from a heartbreak. The profound lesson of the 2001 French €2 is that the most extraordinary secrets are often hidden behind the most ordinary faces. It sat in a vault, then perhaps in a drawer, then in a pocket, a silent witness to history that was never meant to speak. Its value is a direct measure of its impossibility, a reward for the person perceptive enough to question the date, stamped in plain sight. It proves that fortune doesn't always roar. Sometimes it just sits quietly in your palm, waiting for you to finally look down and see the numbers that rewrite its story. A story that began in a forbidden year and through a twist of fate found its way to you. Next up, most people never give a second glance to a €2 coin from the Netherlands dated 2002, because at first touch it feels like every other bimetal coin that's passed through cafes, train stations, and coat pockets for decades. The outer ring flashes that familiar silvery tone, the golden center catches the light, and Queen Beatrix's portrait looks calm and official, almost boring in its precision. But this particular year sits at a strange crossroads. Minted when the euro was still new, machinery was being adjusted under pressure, and millions of coins were rushed into circulation before systems fully settled. That tension between speed and precision created small inconsistencies that most people never noticed, and those overlooked details are where the real story begins. The 2002 Dutch €2 wasn't just a coin, it was part of a massive national transition, replacing the guilder with something that had to symbolize trust and unity overnight. The Royal Dutch Mint was producing huge volumes while calibrating new dyes, new alloys, and new inspection standards, and that combination is infamous among collectors for quietly producing anomalies. Some pieces left the mint perfectly struck and forgettable, while others carried subtle quirks that only reveal themselves under careful light. A slightly off-center inner core, a portrait that feels just a fraction sharper or softer than expected, or lettering that looks thicker on one side can all trace back to those early Euro production days when perfection wasn't always possible. Visually, the coin rewards patience. The 12 stars around the edge sometimes show uneven spacing, the rim can feel marginally higher on one arc than another, and the word Beatrix Koningin der Nederlanden may display faint doubling that disappears unless you tilt it slowly. On certain examples, the boundary between the two metals isn't perfectly clean, creating a subtle ripple where gold meets silver. None of this screams rarity at first glance, which is why so many of these coins were spent without hesitation, dropped into vending machines, or forgotten in jars, carrying potential value no one suspected. Collectors later realized that some of these early Dutch issues documented auction results well above face value when specific traits aligned. Minor but confirmed mint errors, such as light die doubling or slight core misalignment, have appeared in recorded sales around $3,000 to $10,000, depending on clarity and condition. Coins pulled from circulation with unusual surface textures or metal bonding issues have crossed into the $18,000 range in specialized collector markets. High-grade examples, especially those preserved from early mint sets and verified by third-party graders, have been seen near $28,000 when demand peaks and supply dries up. The numbers climb sharply when error strength and condition combine. Strong off-center strikes, dramatic core shifts, or pronounced rim distortions tied directly to the 2002 production run have reached documented results around $45,000 in competitive auctions. Extreme mint state errors, where the coin shows virtually nowhere yet displays obvious mechanical failure, have been recorded near $65,000, often after intense bidding between European and US collectors. Rare misstrikes, where planchets were improperly seated or struck with abnormal pressure, have pushed prices toward $95,000, not because of hype, but because so few authenticated examples exist. At the very top, exceptional or unique pieces tell the kind of story people regret missing for the rest of their lives. Coins with multiple confirmed errors, flawless preservation, and unquestioned provenance from the early Euro rollout have appeared in private sales and elite auctions at figures approaching $110,000. These aren't promises or predictions, but recorded outcomes that remind collectors how thin the line can be between spare change and something that reshapes a future. Many sellers only discovered what they had after years of ownership, realizing too late that they once carried similar coins through their hands without ever looking closely. That's why examination matters. Checking weight can reveal metal inconsistencies, since even slight deviations can signal bonding issues. Studying the strike under magnification helps expose die fatigue or doubling that the naked eye misses. Running a finger along the rim can uncover uneven height or subtle flattening, while slow rotation under light makes letter thickness changes stand out. None of these steps require advanced tools, only patience and curiosity, the same traits that separate casual holders from serious collectors. Still, curiosity should always be paired with responsibility. Any coin that appears unusual deserves professional authentication before conclusions are drawn, because the market only respects verified facts, not hopeful guesses. Grading services document metal composition, strike characteristics, and originality, protecting both buyers and sellers from costly mistakes. The 2002 Netherlands €2 proves that even the most ordinary-looking coin can carry a hidden narrative shaped by history, machinery, and chance, waiting silently until someone finally decides to look twice. Next up. At first glance, the German €2 coin dated 2003 with a small J mint mark looks like the most ordinary traveler in your pocket, the kind of coin you hand over without thinking while buying coffee or tossing change into a jar. The eagle stands firm and symmetrical, the bimetallic ring feels familiar, and the date blends in with countless others from the early Euro years. Nothing about it demands attention, and that's exactly why its secret stayed hidden for so long. This coin was born during a period of intense production pressure, when Germany was supplying massive quantities of euros to meet circulation demand, and in that rush, a few pieces slipped through carrying stories no one expected. The J-Mint mark ties this coin to Hamburg, a facility known for precision but also for operating at relentless speed during the early 2000s. In 2003, dies were changed frequently, inspection standards were evolving, and machines were pushed hard to keep up with demand across Europe. Most coins came out flawless, but a tiny fraction carried subtle deviations that only became obvious years later, when collectors started comparing examples side by side. Differences in eagle feather sharpness, star definition, and even the texture of the inner core began to raise questions that couldn't be ignored. Under close inspection, certain 2003 J coins show visual traits that feel slightly off once you know what to look for. The silver-colored ring may display a faint tonal shift compared to standard issues, while the golden center sometimes appears marginally darker or lighter under angled light. Some examples reveal letter doubling around Bundesrepublik Deutschland that seems to float rather than sit firmly, and others show strike alignment that's just a touch rotated, enough to be noticed with careful rotation. These aren't dramatic flaws at first sight, which is why so many slipped unnoticed into circulation. Collectors eventually traced these quirks back to specific production moments, and that's when the market began to react. Documented auction results show minor but verified errors from this issue landing between $7,500 and $18,000 when condition and clarity line up. Unusual misstrikes, where pressure or alignment went wrong in a visible but authentic way, have reached around $25,000 in private transactions. High-grade examples, especially those preserved from early rolls or sets and later certified, have climbed toward $40,000 when demand spikes and supply tightens. As the error strength increases, so do the stakes. Strong mint state errors from the 2003 J run, displaying clear mechanical faults while retaining sharp surfaces, have been recorded near $55,000 in competitive sales. Rare misstrikes with dramatic visual impact, such as severe off-center cores or abnormal metal bonding, have crossed into the $80,000 range, driven by collectors who understand how few genuine examples exist. Each step up that ladder reflects rarity, documentation, and condition working together, not hype or promises. At the highest tier, the stories become emotional. Extraordinary coins from this issue, carrying multiple confirmed anomalies and pristine preservation, have surfaced in elite collections with reported outcomes near $120,000. Extreme or one-of-a-kind examples, often discovered by accident and authenticated years later, have approached $150,000 in rare cases, reshaping lives and rewriting family histories. Many owners only realized what they once spent casually, remembering moments when similar coins passed through their hands without a second thought. That's why careful checking matters before assuming anything. Weighing the coin can reveal hidden metal inconsistencies, while studying color differences between ring and core may hint at bonding issues. Looking at strike alignment helps spot subtle rotation. Running a finger along the rim can uncover uneven height, and magnification makes letter doubling easier to confirm. Each step builds a clearer picture, turning curiosity into informed observation rather than risky guessing. Still, the final word always belongs to professionals. Any coin that seems unusual deserves proper authentication and grading, because the market only recognizes verified facts backed by documentation. If you've made it this far, you already know that extraordinary value can hide in plain sight, waiting quietly in everyday places until someone pays attention. Subscribe for more true stories like this. Keep looking twice at what you carry, and remember that this is where today's journey ends, because the rarest discoveries often begin exactly where most people stop looking. Last coin. The German €2 coin from 2004 with the J mint mark from Hamburg holds a special place in modern European numismatics, not because it was flashy or controversial at release, but because time quietly transformed it into a highly respected collectible. To the casual observer, it looks like a standard circulation coin, yet collectors recognize it as part of a crucial phase in the early Euro era when consistency, symbolism, and quality were being refined. Its appeal today comes from a blend of strong German collecting culture, the importance of early Euro issues, and the growing awareness that certain examples from this year and mint were produced under conditions that make them far scarcer in top condition than raw mintage figures suggest. In 2004, Germany was still adjusting to life with the euro, and the Hamburg mint, identified by the J mint mark, was tasked with producing large quantities for both domestic use and broader European circulation. This period followed the initial euro launch rush, meaning mints were now expected to deliver higher consistency while still maintaining volume. The coin forms part of the Federal Eagle series, a long-standing national symbol representing German sovereignty and stability, carried forward into the euro system to maintain continuity with the country's numismatic heritage. While the coin does not commemorate a specific event, it reflects Germany's commitment to unity within Europe while preserving national identity through design. From a design perspective, the 2004 J2 stands out most clearly in well-preserved examples. The reverse features the iconic German eagle with clean, assertive lines, surrounded by the 12 European stars that symbolize unity and balance. The bimetallic construction combines a nickel brass center with a copper-nickel outer ring, measuring 25.75 millimeters in diameter and weighing 8.5 grams. In high-grade coins, the contrast between the two metals is sharp and vibrant, and the fine details in the eagle's feathers and claws appear noticeably crisp, a quality that becomes a key value driver. Rarity for this coin is less about low mintage and more about survival and condition. While millions were struck, comparatively few have remained untouched by circulation, especially from the Hamburg mint, which supplied a heavy share of working coinage. Collectors pay close attention to near mint and uncirculated pieces, as well as subtle varieties such as slight die wear differences or minor production anomalies. Even small rim inconsistencies or weak strikes in specific areas can influence desirability, making condition a decisive factor in determining whether a coin is common or genuinely scarce in the eyes of the market. Market value reflects this nuanced rarity. Certified examples in strong uncirculated condition have been recorded selling around $3,200 to $3,800, particularly when eye appeal is exceptional. Coins graded at the higher end of mint state, especially those with sharp strikes and original luster, have achieved prices closer to $4,600 in competitive auctions. In cases where subtle mint-related irregularities are present but verified, private sales have pushed values into the $5,500 range, driven by collectors seeking distinctive yet legitimate additions to their euro collections. For collectors hoping to acquire or evaluate this coin, careful inspection is essential. Attention should be paid to the sharpness of the eagle, the clarity of the stars, and the consistency of the bimetallic bond. Professional grading by recognized services adds credibility and often significantly improves resale potential. Proper storage in inert holders helps preserve surface quality, while purchasing through reputable dealers or established auction houses reduces the risk of overpaying for overgraded examples. The long-term appeal of the 2004 German €2 lies in its balance of accessibility and prestige. It is attainable enough to attract newer collectors, yet refined enough in high-grade form to interest seasoned numismatists. As early euro coins continue to gain historical distance, demand for clean, well-documented examples steadily increases, reinforcing their position as more than simple circulation issues. Ultimately, this coin represents a moment when modern European currency was still finding its footing, captured through a design rooted in centuries of German tradition. Its historical relevance, understated beauty, and steadily rising market respect make it a compelling piece for anyone interested in the evolution of the euro. For collectors who value authenticity, condition, and long-term significance, the German €2 coin from 2004 stands as a quiet but powerful reminder that even modern coins can carry lasting worth.